Hi, I'm Mary.
And I'm Katie, and this is The Housewife Did It.
Pop Culture Edition. Take
Happy.
two.
Yeah, it is take two. Happy Speak Now release week, everyone.
Yes.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
So excited.
There's another holiday
I
this
get
week, but pish posh.
no.
It's Speak Now release
Yeah.
week, friends.
I get paid on Speak Now release day, which I feel like could become dangerous when you're in your feels.
Yeah.
But we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
All
Alrighty,
right.
Mary's gonna take us through all the
Yeah.
headlines.
Like I said, this is take two. We have already recorded this, but there was a audio mishap, so we're going again. So if it sounds a little bit rehearsed, it's because it kind of is, because this is the second time we've said all of this. But I did change some things because more things have come to light, which is kind of cool about getting to re-record,
Yeah.
is that you can add more. But we'll start with some like small updates. Chrissy Teigen announced the birth of her fourth child this past week via surrogate. His name is Rin Alexander. Um, we were talking about how much we love their names. So she has Luna, Miles, Esty, and now Rin.
SD.
I know. They're so cute. And he has the most beautiful head of hair you've ever seen in your life.
Cute.
So yeah, that's very exciting. They're so happy. She has also said that like having four is like her dream. So you can just tell she's just like so happy right now. Next, Harry Styles became the first musical artist in history to have every track on his first three albums certified gold or higher. And I feel like he is also a little bit the music industry.
No.
And I also feel like if he and Taylor could just get back together, like there would be no need for any other musical artist to exist, I feel like, at that point.
Yeah.
Like they would take over the world.
Yeah.
They would be too powerful for us.
Yeah.
So.
Every other artist blocked on my Spotify.
Yeah.
Silenced.
Next, I originally had this as like a bigger section, but it just didn't need to be. So quickly, one last thing to mention before we get into the big stuff. Some influencers have come under fire on TikTok and Twitter for being invited on a trip by Shein to see the conditions their workers are in. This is in an attempt to prove that Shein is not a sweatshop. Because in the past, there have been exposés written about people who say they have been to the Shein factory and seen that there is child labor involved, that it is a sweatshop, that the conditions are horrible for their workers. But these influencers who have sponsorship deals with Shein are saying that they are going to the same factory for this trip to China and trying to prove that it is not at all what you think it is. So what you see in their videos is them like going into the factory, and they show like this is the sketching like part, like these are people drawing out the designs for Shein. Here is like the fabric department, and it's like showing people like cutting fabric by hand, which like that the stuff that's on Shein that is so clearly mass produced is not being cut by hand.
Yeah.
And not being sketched by
designers,
like a true like clothing designer.
Yeah.
So some people are saying that what you're actually seeing on those videos is a pop-up shop. I don't know if that is totally true, but it does look like a pop-up shop in my opinion.
Yeah.
Also, part of the reason they wanted to do this was because some proprietors of Shein in the past have posted to TikTok claiming that the tags on their clothing contain secret messages such as, "I have dental pain, need your help, and you are going to die in this suit." Yeah, so
how bad is your
Shein
dental pain that that's the message you send?
Shein has tried to, like, explain some of that away, like, saying, like, "Oh, need your help. Like, keep in mind this is, like, a Chinese company. We didn't know how to write it, but, like, need your help," is talking about, like, how you have to take extra care to wash this garment or whatever, and, like, trying to explain it away, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense, so
Yeah. But it's like most of Shein's
yeah.
clothes are not going to require, like, really, like, intense
Right.
washing instructions, so, like, you should be able to just, like, copy and paste onto everything.
Right.
There would be no reason that you would, like, oh, well, our English was messed up on this one.
Yeah. I was hanging out with some of my friends on Saturday night, and we were talking about it, and one of them said that, like, people say, like, well, I shop at Shein because, like, you can't beat those prices, and, like, I'm balling on a budget and whatever, and she's like, but then they post, like, $1,000 Shein hauls. It's like, yeah, you got a lot of shit for $1,000, but, like, you clearly aren't struggling that much for money if you're dropping $1,000 at Shein. Like, you could drop it somewhere else. And she was also saying that some people say, like, well, but Shein is, like, size inclusive, like, they have, like, a plus size section, but, like, as someone who has had to shop in Shein's plus size section, when I shopped at Shein, it is not what I would consider size inclusive, because you have to size up 1 or 2 sizes to get anything on that website to fit you.
Yeah.
And so, like, there's much more accurately size inclusive places you could shop.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to save money, I highly recommend you hit up a thrift store where you get something for just as cheap, if not cheaper, that no one else is going to have probably.
Yeah.
And that will, like, actually fit you and is the opposite of fast fashion.
Yeah. And I think, like, obviously this is easier said than done, because, like, often if you don't have enough money, like, you don't get to consider the quality. But, like, you do $1,000 Shein haul and you got hundreds and hundreds of pieces. Within 2 washes, those are dingy as fuck. Within, like, you're gonna have threads ripping like, it just, their stuff isn't made to last. So sure, like, if this is how you have to budget, and, like, no shame, whatever. But yeah, if you're gonna drop $1,000 anyway, I would maybe make it a little more worth it long term.
Yeah, I agree. My friend that I was talking to, she also said, like, you could also find, if you really want the clothes that Shein sells, you could find them at a thrift store. And I was like, I went thrifting this past week, and I did in fact buy a Shein top from the thrift store.
Yeah.
Like, it was like one that, in terms of Shein clothing, is, I think, pretty good quality. It's just like a t-shirt, but, like, yeah, their ethics are questionable, even in trying to prove they aren't. I think that there's some sketchiness. But we're gonna move on into some of the harder hitters, I guess, for this week's episode. This next one I originally had as a small snippet, but I've since realized there's so much I have to say on it and so much details that I had to expand it. So we're going to talk about Colleen Ballinger for a second. If you don't know who Colleen Ballinger is, she is Miranda Sings. And she has come under fire recently for some questionable behavior dating back to at least 2017.
Which sounds like not that long, but that's a while.
It's been a while. So there are a few different things she's come under fire for, so we're going to break it down a little bit. So we're going to start with some things that she has done on her Miranda Sings tours. Just a couple of things that have been pretty heavily talked about. One was making a young boy put his hands in her pants to grab cheese balls. This is like a bit that she does, trying to get people to grab cheese balls out of her pants. However, when it's a boy who, in my opinion, looks no older than 10, you should be able to determine that that wasn't the right move.
Yeah. I don't know that it ever is, but, like...
No. If you're gonna pull someone up for a bit like that, like, because I think...
Check IDs, that, baby.
Like, yeah. Or at least look at them. But, like, the thing is, like, I think that she tries to play it off like Miranda Sings is like supposed to be someone who like doesn't understand social cues and boundaries. And so she's like, Miranda wouldn't see anything wrong with this. Fine. Okay, if that's your bit, whatever. People are paying to see it. They know it's going to happen, that she's cuckoo, but not a 10-year-old boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also,
like, come up with better material. Like, that doesn't impress me with, like, funny. Your creativity, that, like, that's all you can come up with.
I'm personally not laughing.
Yeah.
The next thing she did during the tour was another bit she had called the yoga bit, where she would bring someone on stage and basically, like, push them into a yoga position and then play a fart track.
Okay.
And in this one specific show, the girl she pulled up on stage was a 16-year-old.
Okay.
And that girl has since posted to TikTok about her personal experience, because it was her that was in this bit, and she explained that when she got pulled up on stage, she was like very excited, and she had actually intended, like, she went to the show hoping to get pulled on stage, but she was hoping to get pulled on stage for a different bit, and she gets pulled on stage for this yoga bit, and she's a little bit weary of this because she's wearing a romper, and the romper she's wearing is very tight fitted on the top, but is very loose around her legs. Like, the shorts are very loose.
Mm-hmm.
So she says she gets pulled on stage. She's made to lay on her back, and Colleen starts pushing her legs apart into a split. However, the shorts are very loose, so she says she's on the stage and she can feel her shorts falling down. And she can also feel that what people are seeing now is her spandex that she has put on under the romper. So this is happening, and she's like, I'm 16. She said that when she left the show, people were looking at her and making comments to her that they had not made prior to the show that made her feel very uncomfortable about having essentially seen her underwear. And again, this girl is 16. It's a little different from a 10-year-old being pulled on stage, which in the sense that, like, we could maybe say Colleen didn't know she wasn't 18 or older. But if you are going to do something like that, either pick someone who does not have the chance of their underwear being shown on stage, or like someone who's wearing something a little bit tighter on the legs, or plant someone in the audience and pick them, someone you know will not be uncomfortable and someone that you know is an adult.
Also, like, how hard? Yeah, those two suggestions you made are good, but I'll make it even easier. Hey, do you want to come on stage? How old are you?
Right.
Like, yeah, she could lie.
The girl says 18.
Right.
That's not on you.
Yeah, she could lie, but, like, she probably won't. Like, she will probably tell you how old she is. Or, at least, like, you kind of lose. I mean, still, there is better that could be done to confirm her age, but, like, at least then there's less culpability. You can be like, no, damn, she told me she was 19. Like,
right. And, like, asking someone their age is the bare minimum. I have had bartenders simply ask me my age before giving me a drink instead of checking my ID. So, it, like, literally bare minimum. But that's not even all of it. So, another thing that people have concerns about is that she has included sexual content in her YouTube videos. In one specific video, she's doing like a dating game with Colleen and Miranda.
Okay.
And she says, like, have you ever been caught playing with yourself? And Colleen holds up, I have not. Miranda holds up, I have. And again, she's trying to, like, push this idea, like, Miranda doesn't understand what that means. And so Colleen is like, I don't think you understand what that means. And she's like, I play all the time, like, blah, blah. But this is not appropriate when you consider that most of the people who watch her channel are children. And in fact, at one point, she even has we see screenshots where she has complained to a group chat that she's in that almost everyone who shows up to her meet and greets is 6 or younger. So
Yikes.
while, yeah, we can't even say like, well, she didn't intend for children to see that, because she admits that the people who watch her videos and that come to meet her and come to her shows are very young.
Yeah. Well, I saw, that's really weird, because I saw that, like, in part of this apology, or, like, maybe it was separate, but that she said somewhere that, like, I've always said that Miranda Sings is PG-13 rated, and any parents who, like, decide to, like, allow their children, like, you know, like, it's up to parents to decide what their children consume or whatever. Obviously, the part you're going to get into next about this group chat, though, is that, like, parents, like, that's a little naive that parents can just, like, completely control what their kids watch. But also, like, the one thing parents can't control and would never hope for is that an adult is, like, having direct inappropriate conversations with their children. Right. It's, like, one thing if their kid is finding inappropriate videos on the internet, and that's not your fault. But, yeah, it's, like, a little weird that you both acknowledge that this is your audience, but then you say, like, oh, it's not my fault it's a bunch of 5-year-olds, like, because I've always said it was PG-13. Well, like, then you either need to make it, like, this is an explicit channel, or you need to gear back toward the audience that you have.
Right. And I upload our YouTube videos every week.
As adult content.
As I'm clicking through it, it asks, is this video appropriate for children? And it is so easy to click, no, it is not.
No. It's also, like, on YouTube...
And I don't know what that does.
On YouTube, it's specifically...
I'm assuming you have to have parental controls.
Yeah. Well, on, like, Spotify, you do, like, explicit, but, like, YouTube, I think, specifically asks, like, is this made for children? Because, like, it's not just, like... It's not just, like, could children watch it and be okay? It's, like, this... They probably could, you know, like, if you take out the fucks and or if parents don't care, like, whatever. We're not usually that vulgar, sometimes. Yeah. But, like, it's not made for them. Like, this is not this is not for them. And so, yeah, that's where it becomes up to parents. If you choose to let your kid watch something that is made for adults and that is fine with you, like, coolio. But, like, her shit is, I guarantee you, she's probably checking yes, made for children when she uploads YouTube videos. Because it is made for children.
Yeah, no adults find this funny.
No.
I have never, as an adult, watched a Miranda Sings video and thought, that's hilarious.
But also, like, isn't that so, like, inherent to groomers, right? That, like, adults...
Content is so immature.
Yeah, but it's, like, it's so gross and inappropriate, but it is also, like, for children. Like, no adult would be in a conversation with a groomer or, like, whatever and be like, oh, yeah, I like that. Or, like, that's funny. Or, like, this makes me feel good about myself. Like, that's the whole point, is that, like, kids are open to those things or, like, don't realize. And so it is, like, weird because... it almost seems like her success is built on the fact that, like, she is selling inappropriate content to children.
Well, and I think, like, part of me thinks, like, in watching the clip from the, like, have you ever been caught playing with yourself thing, I was thinking about, like, in, like, Madagascar, when they say, like, sugar, honey, iced tea, and then the help falls and says hell and whatever, like, those are jokes that are, like, planted in these movies adults that are supposed to go over a child's head. And so I can see, like, some of these jokes being that's like, a kid isn't going to get it. Right. So, like, it's okay if I put it in to be funny for the adults. But like you said, she then has taken it a step farther by having direct contact with underage people and facilitating a group chat with children where she says some inappropriate things. So we're going to get into that now. The chat is called Colleenie's Weenies and was created in 2017. So fans join this chat in hopes of meeting Colleen, getting free tickets to her show, being featured in her vlogs, or being followed by her on social media. Apparently, this is something she had done before within the chat, so people start joining the chat so that they can get this too. So I'm going to read you some of the messages from the chat. One, a fan says, "My ass looks so good today, y'all." And Colleen says, "Pics, Adam."
Ew.
Then another time, yeah, she says, "Tell me what move I should make on ball, cocker, cock blocker, stock dick."
What does that even mean?
I think it maybe is a username or
Oh.
something. Or her husband's last name is Stocklin. So I also thought maybe it was like a reference to him, like trying to make fun of his last name or something, but I don't know. Another one, she says, "Okay, I'm going to go to him and say, 'Hi, Patrice, I'm ready to stress eat your wiener, so show me your ball cocker. Thanks for the advice.'"
What in the fuck?
Yeah.
Why
Another one, she says,
what grown-ass woman likes to say ball cocker this much?
Right.
What?
Another one, she says, "Eric is ripped," which isn't inappropriate, but it is sent in response to fans questioning if her first husband has a small penis. Eric is her second husband. So her fans were saying, like, "I bet Josh has a small penis," and she just responds by saying, "Eric is ripped."
Weird.
Another one, she says, "Adam, do you need questions for your Q&A? Are you a virgin? What's your faith position?"
Ew.
And another one, she says, "Tell me all the thoughts you had when you first got your periods. Please and thank you. Example, I thought I shit myself because the blood was so dark in my underwear." Which, again, is just, like, gross. Like, why are you sharing that?
Yeah, and it's like, what does she want their thoughts for? For content? Like, she gonna put this in a video?
I'm wondering if it's gonna be like Miranda gets her first period. She's obviously gonna react in a funny way. What do you think would be funniest?
Then you do a focus group with adult women.
In addition, yes, either your content needs to get more mature so that your fans can be age appropriate with you, or your content needs to stay young and appropriate. So in addition to the sexual messages, she also sends several messages about her mental health and her ex-husband Josh. I'm not gonna read them because there are so many of them and I don't feel like we have time to read them, especially because they all basically say the same thing. But I'm gonna tell you, like, the gist of what she says about this. She says he is constantly accusing her of belittling him and cheating. She claims she never even had time to cheat on him. She says this over and over and over again. "I worked so fucking hard. I didn't have time to cheat on him." She says fuck a lot in these messages also. She tells fans that he was emotionally abusive and that she rose him to stardom and he gave her no thanks or credit. And then at one point she says, I need to keep my mouth shut. Everyone hates me." So again, like, those aren't like as inappropriate in my opinion because they're not like sexual in nature, but you have these people looking up to you who genuinely care about you and feel that they love you. So for you to be saying like all of these probably scary things to them about like you being abused and feeling like everyone hates you and whatever, like, it's okay to share those things, but not with children.
Yeah, it still feels
because they don't have the emotional capacity to deal with it.
Yeah, and it still feels like groomy. You know, like, you can't groom someone by only having sexual conversations with them, right? Like, you have to let them get to know you. You have to whatever. And I think the whole, like, everyone hates me feels, like, very obvious, obviously, to adults, but it's like, these kids don't know you, and they should have no, like, reason to feel like they should need to take care of you. They have, like, no allegiance to you. Like, they should not be burdened with this.
Yeah, in the responses, they clearly do feel that way because when she's talking about her ex-husband and, like, that he was emotionally abusive, you can see the responses saying things like, "I'm gonna come in swinging," like, "You don't deserve this," like, "He's the worst," like, just all of these things that it's clearly, like, weighing on them in at least some capacity that they're upset about it. So, coming toward the end of the Colleen shit show, possibly the biggest of these allegations came in 2020 when YouTuber Adam McIntyre, if you remember some of the messages I sent earlier, she was saying like, "Adam, send pics of your ass. Adam, are you a virgin?" This is the Adam we're talking about. he makes a YouTube video where he alleges that he had an inappropriate relationship with Colleen when he was 13, where he details that she sent him lingerie and gave him access to her social media accounts.
Sent him just lingerie in packages?
She said it was a joke. It's supposed to be funny.
What a waste of money.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about her song. I'm sure you all know at this point what the song is. But so before we get into that, though, in response to the song we're about to discuss, Adam tweeted, "As much as Colleen discredited and made fun of me, I'm glad her video did one thing: show you all exactly the type of evil woman she is that a lot of us have experienced over the past few years behind the scenes. The mask has slipped. Everyone meet the real Colleen Ballinger."
Good for Adam.
Yeah. So, instead of apologizing for all of these things, Colleen posted a 10-minute long ukulele song, just clearly not taking any of these sexual assaults of minors seriously. And I say sexual assaults and not allegations of sexual assault because we have videos from her shows of her doing these things. So here are some of the lyrics included in the non-apology. "All aboard the toxic gossip train, chugging down the tracks of misinformation. You got a one-way ticket to manipulation station."
The fuck?
The song is called Toxic Gossip Train.
Okay.
"I've been sharing my life online for 15 years. I've poured my heart, and because of that, I feel like I'm talking to my friends. But at the beginning of my career, I didn't understand that there should be boundaries there. There were times when I would overshare." The only thing I've ever groomed are my 2 Persian cats. I'm not a groomer, just a loser who didn't understand she shouldn't respond to fans. Nobody's saying you shouldn't respond to them, dingbat.
Yeah.
I thought you wanted me to take accountability, but that's not the point of mob mentality. Your goal is to ruin the life of the person you despise when you dramatize and monetize their demise. That is my goal. You're right. "I know you wanted me to say that I was 100% in the wrong. I'm sorry, I'm not going to take that route of admitting to lies and rumors you made for clout."
Okay. Can you admit to the things that we have seen in real life?
Yeah. "You don't need any armor where you hide behind the screens. Shoot me down quick with a click and bam, my reputation's decided." "Have I made some jokes in poor taste? Yes. Have I made dumb mistakes? Am I sad that fans feel betrayed? Yes. But was my intention to manipulate? No. But what do I know? Fuck me, right?"
No, thank you. I think Colleen's third husband should be Maddie Healy.
She's still married to the second husband.
Right. I'm just saying. When the time comes.
Yeah. Eric, get out.
And, yeah. I mean, they would be quite a predatory couple, but at least they would get each other.
Yeah. Yeah. So that is all I have on Colleen. I think it is insane to not issue a single bit of apology
and to explicitly say, like, I am not going to do that. I will not be taking that route.
It's crazy behavior. But moving on, I have started watching Claim to Fame.
Very fun.
Have you watched Claim to Fame?
No, I caught like the end of it before the Bachelorette.
Yeah.
And it looked pretty good. And since it comes on at such a convenient time, I feel like might be worth a watch.
Yeah, exactly. So I like very sparsely watched it last year, but this year it comes on right before the Bachelorette, and I get really antsy, and so I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and watch Claim to Fame so that I can get into Bachelorette as soon as it starts. I saw someone say that Claim to Fame is like Clue for Nepo babies, and I think that's why I'm so invested in it already. And also I just love solving puzzles. So I'm gonna get into the premiere. So there will be some spoiler alerts. We're gonna start with some spoiler alerts of what happened in the first episode, and then I will also give you some spoiler alerts of who I know the celebrity relatives of, so if you don't want to hear that, you can skip it. But so what happened on the premiere episode was it kind of like Drag Race style. There's like a mini challenge, and then there's like the vote out. So in the first little mini challenge, Travis wins. It's a talent show. And Hugo and JR are put in the bottom 2. Also at this time, JR injures himself in the challenge, tearing some ligaments in his leg and needing a boot and crutches. He thinks that this is to his advantage because he thinks people will pity him. And in fact, Hugo is chosen as the guesser. When the guesser is chosen...
How do you get in the bottom 2? Like, you do the worst in the competition?
You do the worst.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if they chose him...
So they did the worst.
If they chose JR after, like, hurting himself, I was going to be so sad.
Mm-hmm.
But that makes sense.
No, he did the worst. So the guesser gets to then guess who the celebrity relative is of one other person in the house.
Okay.
And if they guess correctly, that person goes home. Mm-hmm. If they guess incorrectly, the guesser's celebrity relative is revealed and they go home.
Okay.
So, Hugo guesses that Carly is Tom Hanks's niece, and he is correct, which means she is going to be sent home. So, Hugo admits that the reason he chose to guess Carly is because she had been very obvious that Tom Hanks was her relative. Mm-hmm. So he knew that if he guessed her, he could stay. And what I mean by obvious is that every time somebody brought up Tom Hanks's name, she was like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" Like, she was like having like a malfunction. Mm-hmm. Like, somebody said like, "Oh, there's a bench on the clue wall. Forrest Gump, mm-hmm. Tom Hanks," and she was like, "Tom Hanks? Oh my gosh, not Tom Hanks! Like, Tom Hanks is too famous to have a relative in this home." And somebody points out, "Well, we're not saying Tom Hanks is in this home.
Yeah.
We're saying his relative is in this home.
Yeah.
Nobody's too famous to have a relative in this home because their relatives aren't famous."
Yeah.
And then at another point, she says, "Well, there are a lot of actors in Forrest Gump, so it could be anyone from Forrest Gump, not Tom Hanks."
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Nobody else really sits on that bench, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, sure, I guess it could be Sally Field. Like, she would be the only, like, other, like, oh, that'd be so fun. Like, in big name, but, like, the bench is not hers. It's not her bench.
Right. So, when Carly gets voted out, this is where it gets interesting. She absolutely loses her fucking shit. So, she is yelling at Hugo during the vote, telling him she helped him with his guessing. She hopes he goes home. This isn't fair. She says that the only reason she gets voted out is because the clue wall was so obvious, and like, how dare they put that there. Then she goes into the house to pack, and we hear, and the people outside the house at the vote can hear this like guttural, like banshee scream, mm-hmm. like a cry of pain. Mm-hmm. Not words, just like a ah. She is stomping through the house. She is shrieking. She is again saying this isn't fair. She doesn't deserve this. She's never done anything wrong. And then we hear her say, "I deserve more camera time." To which the people still at the vote are like, we made the right choice. Kevin Jonas is like trying so hard to save this. And he's like, "It's really hard when anyone has to go home on this show. We mm-hmm. really feel for Carly." And I was like, "No, baby, you can admit she's being a crazy person. It's okay."
Yeah. And it's like this show, like, it doesn't really sound like it's a choice, right? Like, unless you feel super confident in multiple people's relative, like, it's not about, like, you helped him or you don't deserve this or whatever. Like, it was him mm-hmm. or you, baby. Like, he's gonna pick the one that he's the most confident in, and that was you because you suck. So, like, it was to save his own life. It wasn't because you did anything wrong or because he was like, that bitch doesn't deserve camera time.
Right. And she, like, says to him, like, they kind of ask her, like, how she feels, or they ask if she's surprised that Hugo voted for her or guessed her, and she said that she was surprised because she had helped him, and she was like, I'll just say this, like, Hugo, I hope you go home next. Like, I hope they figure out your relative because you don't deserve to be here. And then she says, like, but that was like a really like very basically like a very like strong move
This
to
isn't
like go
Big
against an
Brother.
ally. And he's like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, to be honest. Like, he looks like he's like, what the hell is wrong with this woman?
Yeah.
And she's like, so I guess maybe you do deserve to win, like making all these crazy moves. And it's just like, she showed her ass for real.
Yeah.
Also on the episode, we get to see when Travis wins the challenge, the reward for winning one of these challenges is you get a clue about someone in the house. So he chooses to receive a clue about Shane, and he says that he chooses Shane because she stumps him the most. So when you get the clue, it's like a piece of paper with symbols to represent the relative. And on Shane's clue paper is a crown, a face with a question mark in it, a plane ride, America, and then an and sign, a deer, and wheat. Travis has no idea what this means. He's like trying really hard. He can't figure it out. So I'm gonna move in now to the contestants that I know for sure who their relatives are.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't want to hear them, skip ahead, and then I'll tell you some clues and theories of the others.
Okay.
So, what I know for sure is that Travis's dad is Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Okay.
Shane's dad is Eddie Murphy. The hints on the clue were supposed to be a king coming to America and buckwheat.
What is buckwheat? Do we know what buckwheat?
Buckwheat is a song.
Oh, okay.
By Eddie Murphy.
Okay, awesome.
Chris's dad is Donny Osmond. And Hugo is Jimmy Carter's grandson.
That is so cool.
I know. I like Hugo, though. I gotta say, for him saying Carly was being obvious, Hugo said some things that I was like, honey.
Also, though,
everyone's gonna know who you are.
Carly, my baby. Tom Hanks is too famous to have a relative in the house. There's a fucking president's relative in the house. Like, every famous person has relatives, and we don't know them.
Right.
That's literally why this show is able to exist.
The girl who won last season, she was Keke Palmer's sister or cousin, I think.
Weird.
Like, Keke Palmer's hella famous, too.
Yeah.
So, if you've skipped ahead, now we're at clues for the people I don't know. Some of them have more than others because the premiere, it kind of skipped around during Two Truths and a Lie. So they played Two Truths and a Lie. They're supposed to answer the relation to the celebrity, what they're famous for, and what their biggest award is. But one of those gets to be a lie.
Okay.
So some of them, it showed the whole Two Truths and a Lie, revealed what the lie was. Some of them we only got a piece of. So Cole revealed that his celebrity relative is his father. That is the only snippet we got of his Two Truths and a Lie.
Okay.
Gabriel revealed that his celebrity relative was his brother, who had won an NAACP award. He also says that they look nothing alike. And he tells his fellow contestants that his brother is an athlete. And when he does this, he poses like the Heisman Trophy. But then he admits in an interview that that was a lie because he is so tall and like built that people tend to think he is an athlete. And so he thought that would be believable. I don't have any guesses on his celebrity relative.
Yeah, I saw online people think it might be Nick Cannon, which you said, like, he doesn't look like Nick Cannon.
Yeah.
And he says he doesn't look like his brother, so.
Yeah, so that's the thing that, like, that's tripping me up is, like, I don't know where to start.
Right.
Because I don't know what they're famous for and I don't know what they look like.
Yeah.
Jane revealed that her celebrity relative is her father, who is a musician with a Grammy Award. I do not know which of these is her lie, so I do not have any guesses. My husband's guess is Dolly Parton.
I have a question. I don't know if you would know this from the 2 seasons that we've had so far, but, like, do they ever do, like, adopted relatives? Like, when he says they don't look alike, like, do we even know for sure that they would be the same race? Like, we're thinking of a black man, but, like...
I don't know. But, I mean, Carly, she claimed that her celebrity relative was Tom Hanks, and he is technically her uncle by marriage. So, more realistically, her celebrity relative is Rita Wilson.
Okay. Interesting.
So, I think it's possible. I don't know if that has happened yet.
Okay.
I kind of watched the tail end of last season. So by the time I started watching, people had already started saying who their celebrity relative was in their interviews. So I don't know, but it's possible.
Okay.
JR revealed that his celebrity relative was his brother, but he lied about him being in the NBA because he thinks he looks like Dwayne Wade.
He does.
And so he's like, they're going to think it's Dwayne Wade.
Yeah. I was literally like, Billy, if this isn't Dwayne Wade's brother, I'm crazy. Well,
it's not.
Guess what?
Then for his talent in the challenge, he played basketball and he missed every single shot he took, which is why he ended up in the bottom 2. And like I mentioned earlier, he also fell and tore ligaments in his foot. Great. Further proving that he is not athletic. Yeah. I don't have any guesses for him. I will say some people were like, okay, obviously his brother's not an athlete because he sucks at basketball. And then Gabriel was like, or his brother got all of the athletic juices.
Yeah, I mean,
and left him with nothing.
I don't think every family is the Mannings, right? Like, not everyone is, like, just all athletic.
Right. So it's working for him, I think, the athlete thing. Carson said her celebrity relative is a musician, but she sang in the talent show and it was rough, I'll say. I noticed that she had a weird reaction to people bringing up Harrison Ford, which made me wonder if that is her celebrity relative.
That would be cool.
It would be. But he's so famous.
Yeah.
Don't tell Carly. Monet revealed that her celebrity relative is her father, who is an athlete with an Emmy. She also said that she's going to lie like crazy, so she doesn't care that those 2 things do not add up.
Okay.
People in the house began to question if her dad was Steve Harvey. So I looked up Steve Harvey, and he has 7 children, but none of them are named Monet, so I don't think that's who it is. They guess it's because they said that she looks like him. They think he probably has a daytime Emmy. They're thinking, and in the clue wall there is a sign that says "Family is everything."
Okay.
So they're thinking like Family Feud.
Yeah.
Unless she goes by a different name than her legal name, which I didn't fully look into the 7 children. I don't think it's him, but maybe.
I do think that's not a bad strategy, though. Like, obviously, the it's not adding up, but it's like you leave people wondering, like, is it the Emmy? Is it the athlete part? Is it, like, we don't know, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Lastly, Olivia revealed that her celebrity relative is a man with a Razzie Award. And she clarifies, if they didn't know, that a Razzie is a worst of award. Also keep in mind that she's saying this is his greatest award, which, if this is not her lie, means that he has not won any other awards for things. But it could be her lie.
Yeah.
My only guess is, because I very briefly looked up, like, who has a Razzie, and I saw that Jared Leto had one and Colin Farrell had one. I also saw that Tom Hanks had one, but
he certainly
I'm
has
assuming
other
it's
things.
not him.
Yeah.
So those are my only 2 guesses. I don't really think it's one of them, but possible.
Yeah, I saw David Muir, whatever. He's like a news guy, but people just said he was like nominated for a Razzie. So I don't know. And then someone said Chris Harrison, possibly. I don't know if he has a Razzie or was nominated or anything, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and I could see it being Chris Harrison.
Yeah.
But so that's all I have for Claim to Fame. I think you should start watching it because it's like it's just so fun. It's like murder mystery, but like without crime. It's like brain teasers. It's really fun.
It's like everything me and you could ever want.
Yeah, like it's giving Mad Gab. I love it. But so now we're gonna move into the Bravoverse with another 2 episodes of Below Deck Sailing Yacht. They did mention in the last episode that this is their final charter, so it should be coming to an end soon. We should have a reunion coming our way. But rumors are swirling that Colin will not be returning for season 5 after the Love Pentagon drama. In this episode, though, we see Daisy's sister Bonnie come on board to visit her. They admit they have not seen each other in person for 3 years because Daisy is a chief stew, obviously, and Bonnie is a yacht chef. So they kind of have the same tied-up schedule. When she gets there, she is really into Alex, and even at one point on the show, she does make out with him on the way back from the crew night out. But when she first gets to the boat, she asks Daisy to fill her in on everything. So Daisy tells her about the situation with Colin and Gary, and Bonnie says that she likes Gary and she knows he likes Daisy, but she feels like if they were to get together, that Gary wouldn't really appreciate her. And she kind of implies that Gary is more into the chase than he is actually into Daisy herself.
Probably.
Daisy also tells Bonnie at this time that her and Colin are in a pretty good place. She's like confident in them.
Good.
During the night out, so Bonnie's only there for this one night where the crew gets to go out.
Okay.
So during the night out, Bonnie tells Gary and Elisha, who is the cook or the chef on the yacht, what she had said earlier to Daisy, and then says that Gary is great to Daisy when they're alone. Like, for example, if they were on a desert island.
Okay.
To which Daisy says, like, if we were on a deserted island, we would fuck each other. And Gary says, we'd repopulate that island. Which I think is funny.
Yeah.
Like, they have a flirty relationship, whatever. But this causes Elisha to be confused, and she asks if Daisy is with Gary now. And Daisy says that she's with Colin, and this is just like a hypothetical. Elisha then in her interview says it seems like Daisy wants both of them and that it just kind of seemed inappropriate. She also, when she goes back to the table, she looks pissed, and Colin kind of asks her like if she's okay, and she's like, I'm not gonna tell you what happened, basically.
Weird. Okay.
Like, she was being shady to Colin. Like, Colin's like, what the fuck? And you know he's already paranoid.
Yeah.
Bonnie also notes that Daisy and Colin, and she says this to Colin, she says that Daisy and Colin seem like an odd match because Daisy is kind of bougie and Colin is very laid back and chill. Gary then says in his interview that this whole conversation hurt his feelings because he feels like Bonnie is proving that he has really lost his chance with Daisy. So when they get back to the boat, they're hanging out in the crew mess. They're getting changed into their bathing suits to go to the hot tub. And Daisy and Gary make out in the crew mess.
Messy.
Yeah. But then Daisy and Colin have sex in a guest cabin across from another guest cabin where Gary and Mads are having sex.
Jesus.
Also, in between these 2 guest cabins that are across the hall from each other is Bonnie trying to sleep.
Nice.
Yeah. 20 minutes after he makes out with Daisy, Gary asks Mads to be his girlfriend. And he tells her that either he can move to the United States or she can move to Europe and they can make it work. We've already seen, though, that Mads is genuinely not into Gary. Like, Mads, and she has said this, like, sex is, like, far removed from a relationship for her. Like, she's like, I like Gary as a person. I am fine having sex with him, but, like, I do not want to date him. And he is being very clingy, and I'm trying to make this clear, and he is not getting the hint. So she's kind of annoyed that he asks her this, and she says she thinks this is a tactic to keep her from Alex.
Yeah.
So then Bonnie leaves, and they have a new charter come in. During the charter, Gary continuously tries to kiss Daisy, at one point doing so in front of Colin. And he tells Daisy at this time that when he's with her, the world stops. And she tells him that is not appropriate.
It is not?
He's like, it's romantic. Like, you should be flattered. And she's like, no. So then, weird. After seeing Gary try to kiss Daisy, Colin tells Daisy that he would appreciate if she would put her foot down and kind of tell Gary that she's with Colin and he needs to back off.
Mm-hmm.
She says that she shouldn't have to because she is obviously hooking up with Colin. And he's like, I get that, but he clearly doesn't care.
Yeah.
So she does end up confronting Gary, and he says, well, I know you're with Colin and I'm with Mads, but are we just with these people to get back at one another? And she, like, storms off and again says this is inappropriate.
Yeah. Gross.
Colin is obviously fucking pissed.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we all be? So he has noticed that there seems to be a rift between Gary and Mads.
Okay.
And there is. Because Mads, at one point, after I think Gary asked her to be his girlfriend, she makes a joke that she likes Alex better than Gary.
Okay.
Just in general. And that really hurt Gary's feelings. And Colin knows this. So he admits that he is bringing this up because he wants Gary to get a taste of his own medicine. He's pissed at him. He wants to hit him where it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, how's it going with Mads? And Gary's like, I really don't know where I stand with her because of this stroke.
Yeah.
And they're talking about this in their guest cabin, or in their cabin before they go to bed.
Okay.
So they have, like I said, a third person in their cabin. Chase, he chimes in and he's like, well, did you know that Mads had a three-way with Lucy and Alex in the back of the van the other night?
Mm-hmm.
And Gary's like, did she really? And Chase is like, yes. This is not what happened.
Okay.
In the back of the van, to clarify. So what actually happened...
That would be a little hard to do.
Yeah, with two people in the middle
mm-hmm.
seat and a driver in the front.
Mm-hmm.
So what actually happened was they were in the people I just mentioned, Lucy, Alex, and Mads are in the back seat of the van. Bonnie and Chase are in the middle seat.
Mm-hmm.
And they're all like talking. This is on the way back from being out, coming back to the boat.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like joking about how Mads and Alex are into each other and like how much they all love each other and whatever. And Lucy or Mads, one of them says, like, let's have a three-way kiss. And they both kiss Alex at the same time, like a peck.
Yeah.
Very quick. Everyone's moved on. Then, and this is what I think got Chase to lie about this, then Mads says, okay, now Bonnie and Chase kiss. And instead, Bonnie leans over the back seat and makes out with Alex. And Chase admits that's kind of hurtful. Mm-hmm. So basically, Chase has his feelings hurt, and so he's making up lies about Alex. Honestly, he's already had a rough time with Alex, so I think he's just got a sour taste in his mouth.
Yeah.
But so he clings on to this three-way phrase and just runs with it, and that's not what happened.
Yeah.
But as he is telling this lie, Mads is walking past their room and overhears the conversation.
Uh-oh.
And she is pissed.
Yeah.
And she kind of says at that point she is done with Gary. Who wouldn't be?
Mm-hmm.
Honestly.
Thank God.
Yeah, so like I said, we're on the last charter now. So we're going to see the end of this play out, and then we will see on the reunion how it plays out after the charter season ends.
Very exciting.
Yes. So that is all I have for Below Deck. And lastly, we are going to get into the premiere of charity season of The Bachelorette.
Okay.
All right. So here are my first impressions of the men.
Okay.
From night one. So first, someone I went to college with posted a good luck message to Michael on Instagram, which led me to click my way into Michael's Instagram and find that he is originally from Memphis, which does not excuse the thick girl comment he made to Nehemiah, but it tracks. It makes it track. Like, I get it now.
Yeah.
My first impression of Joey is that he is so handsome.
Yes.
So and cute. He had a really cute intro with the flower in her hair. I did get a little worried, though, during their one-on-one conversation because he wasn't really making eye contact with her. But also, like, same. Like, I once got in trouble in high school for not making eye contact while I was talking to a teacher, and because it just makes me uncomfy. Yeah. Also, apparently, he is a short king.
Yeah, we love.
But yeah, it makes me think that he's going to be a fave for you.
Yeah. I love that.
We learned on the last episode, we talked about that we weren't totally sure what Xavier's bio meant. We learned that he is a scientist and he is currently getting his doctorate. I thought Brayden was going to drive me nuts. His intro was really awkward to me. Like, I was like, why did you bring shots if you can't really take them? But in the promos, his big ass dangly earrings are a front runner for me. So I hope he sticks around. I was telling Katie, I'm like a sucker for people who break gender norms and like for androgyny. And so I like the fact that he is so comfortable breaking gender norms in style makes me think that like he is probably a really good person. At first he was giving frat boy vibes, I think because he's 24.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, okay, but like he seems like pretty chill.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I will not rule out that he could be a villain. Because he is kind of a strong personality, so like I will not be shocked. But so far I like him. I think he's cute. I do think he screams 24 years old. Yes. But I like.
Yeah. Caleb, his intro frightened me. And kind of made me think that historically bodybuilders and like pro wrestlers do not do well on this show. They do typically present as villains. However, in the promos we do see him cry and get emotional. But like, I don't know, I've got my eye on him. You know? I think Dotun is adorable. I was so bummed that they didn't talk more because when he stepped out of the limo, she seemed so into him.
Yeah.
Which is why I put him in my lineup this week, because I felt like I almost didn't put Brayden in my lineup for this reason, but because I feel like and since Brayden did so well on night one, I could see him already begin to show some signs of anxiety, which apparently you lose points for.
Yeah.
But I could also see her wanting to make more of an effort to talk to those guys that she seemed really into and didn't get a chance to talk to on night one, like Dotun.
Yeah.
I can see him doing well, getting a chance to talk to her this episode.
Yeah.
I loved Sean's donation to charity bit, but I do not like Sean.
Fair, yeah.
He looks like John Paul Jones and Jordan, the like model guy, had a baby, an evil baby.
He really does, yeah.
Warwick is a cutie pie, and people are already campaigning for him to be the first Asian lead of The Bachelor.
So sweet.
I love the note from James's mom. I think that he himself was giving pick-me vibes.
Yeah.
But I loved like how genuine her note was, and that it was like, even if it's not my son, like I'm so excited to watch you be the Bachelorette and to I hope you find love and I hope you are happy at the end of this, regardless of what happens with James. And I don't think we've ever seen something like that.
Yeah.
And it was just so sweet.
It's cute.
I thought that John's fortune cookie intro was cute. A little bit American, a little bit Asian. I thought that was so cute.
Yeah.
And like very like down to earth, like we talked about in the last episode, like the ones who are like the most important thing to them is like their heritage or their family.
Yeah.
I liked that.
And I think Charity like would appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Know?
Yeah. I also thought I could not get over this. Aaron S. has such a big head for his body.
A little bit, yeah.
And he's 33, but he looks so old.
Yeah.
I don't know why she kept him.
Well,
that's my meanest first impression. Lastly, is Spencer okay? Like, let's be honest. Is this man okay?
Yeah.
He was the one who was like, I'm a single father and I want to be a politician. And I was like, I don't have a good feeling about this. And now my feeling is even worse.
Yeah. It's very strange.
Like, every time he talked to her, no matter what the topic of discussion was, it looked like he was having an orgasm.
Yeah. Even when he was scared she was going to kick him in the nuts. And it's like, why does it make you come that she didn't say, like, oh, fuck your kid? Like.
Yeah. That a child therapist wasn't like, I don't want you if you have a kid.
Yeah. Weird.
Like, come on. I will say, when he first stepped out of the limo, my husband, who I've mentioned before, is autistic. He said, oh, that man's autistic.
Mm-hmm.
He was very excited. He actually asked me, he said, who's the autistic one? I want to put him in my lineup. I said, no, you don't. You don't. I will say I have seen people echoing that.
Yeah.
Thought. Very possible.
Mm-hmm.
However, that doesn't excuse him being creepy.
And, I mean, I think the bottom line is still that, like, they didn't have any
Right,
chemistry.
there was no chemistry there. She seemed so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Unlike some of the more recent seasons, Charity didn't really have any prior leads come on and, like, give her advice. We've seen that a lot lately. But they did really play into the 20th anniversary thing. So instead of having people, like, help her through the beginning of the process, they had some video messages and celebrations of her and of the show.
Mm-hmm.
We also saw Charity's brother, who is also her best friend, come on to go undercover as a bartender and scope out the guys and, like, listen to what they said when Charity wasn't around.
I thought this was so fun.
This is what he told her. I love that I only have 2 comments he made for her because, like, it went really well.
Yeah.
Like, they were so nice. So his only concerns were, he told Charity that Aaron S. mentioned he was skeptical of the process, and Charity says, you know what? He should be. Like, this is weird.
Yeah.
He also tells Charity that before speaking with her, Brayden seemed really excited and, like, giddy to be there, and then after speaking with her, he was even more excited and giddy. But Nehemiah started getting a vibe that he was arrogant because he was telling everyone about their kiss and hinting that he hoped to get the first impression rose. So Charity pulls Brayden aside to talk to him about it, but then she gives him the first impression rose because she said that he should have felt as confident as he did because they did have a really good conversation, and that she liked that he was so excited about her.
I liked that.
Yeah. I was surprised that Charity and Nehemiah viewed his behavior so differently, but I love that she's, like, already holding her own. Yeah. And I think, like, we've talked about this with, like, the, like, villain idea.
Right.
And, like, there are certain things that everyone that watches The Bachelor or is involved with The Bachelor views as red flags.
Right.
And saying that you think you're getting a rose is supposed to be one of them.
Or even saying you want a rose. And it's like, well, of course I fucking want a rose.
Right. That's why I'm fucking here.
Yeah.
But I think, like, to Charity's credit, it really depends on the way it's presented.
Yeah.
Like, we've seen women on The Bachelor throwing other people's things in the pool. We've seen people taking roses from some other people at times. But to just be like, our conversation went so well, like, she kissed me twice, like, I think I really have a shot at getting this first impression rose, like, it was so, like, genuine, and, like, just a discussion, like, I think I could, but I don't know, like, I'm proud of her for not, like, playing into the idea that is automatically a bad thing.
Yeah, and I think, like, in real life, when you date someone, like, you trust that if you feel the chemistry, like, it is mutual. And, like, sometimes you're wrong, but, like, on this show, we get so stuck in, like, it's only up to Charity. It's only up to Charity. Like, you can't assume you're going to get the rose because it's not up to you. And it's like, no, it's not up to him. But, like, he was there and he got to feel how good it felt. And he's probably right. Like, if he felt that good with her and she did kiss him multiple times and they did have a connection, like, he probably read that right. That's not to say she couldn't have liked someone else more and given them the rose and then he would have been disappointed. But, like, I think that is so annoying to me that they always make it, like, if you're not the lead, like, you have to just sit back and, like, let the show, like, be done to you.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, like, you are still dating. Like, you're still trying to find that connection, both of you.
That's another thing that gets villainized is when, like, people say, like, I know that this is their journey, but, like, this is my journey to find love, too. Like, I am also trying to find love. And, like, that's true. And I don't think that we automatically need to villainize people for that. I think that we need to, like, genuinely take a look at their behavior and decide if it's with malicious intent or not. And Brayden obviously wasn't.
Yeah. And I'm going to use this as an example, not that I like this person, but, like, for Zach and Rachel, right? Like, I don't like Zach, but I think that, like, you need to get to know the lead just as much, right? Like, you need to question them. Like, you need to say, like, you need to open up to me, but, like, no one ever does that. Like, the lead is always saying, like, I need you to open up. I need to know this. You scare me because of this. But, like, no one ever gets to say those things back and say, like, she started acting weird or whatever. And, like, okay, cool. But then what's going to happen is you're going to get out of here. She's going to know everything about you, and you're going to realize, like, oh, I never asked any critical questions back. I never inquired about her because I had already watched her on TV before, so I just assumed I knew everything. And, like, of course you don't.
Yeah, I agree. I think that this show kind of, over time, has become more about, like, drama than, like, finding love. But, like, in theory, the people who are going on the show, like, genuinely do want to date someone.
Yeah. Oh, God. Remember when they used to just wear, like, jeans? And, like, just regular... Like, they did not wear, like... Well, they didn't wear, like, gowns even, like, ever. Like, if you go back to the old Jason... whatever his name is, seasons, like, I'm like, you went on TV wearing that shit? And then I'm like, but that's not, like, what it was about then. Like, they were dating the way they would date in regular life.
For sure. We end the episode with production obviously forcing Charity to keep Spencer after he very clearly gave her the biggest ick of all time. Mm-hmm. And I firmly believe that this will be his serial killer origin story. Like, that they led him on. Mm-hmm. One day, we're going to see on the news girls that look just like Charity going missing. Mm-hmm. And Spencer is going to be at the root of it, I believe. Because that man is unhinged. And the longer they make her keep him there, the more unhinged he will become. Like, it's not just like, oh, haha, funny. Like, he could be, like, when they kept... Who's that guy who was on, I think, Desiree's season? That, like, was, like a pro wrestler and made everyone call him his wrestler name instead of his real name.
I don't remember, but yeah.
Or also, like, the Kaboom guy. Do you remember the Kaboom guy?
Or
so, like, it's not like... Yeah, it's not like that where, like, it's just, like, a little funny dude that everyone is kind of hates. Like, this guy is, like...
creeping her out. Yeah, like, she's having a hard time having conversations with
like,
him.
Don't make her keep him.
Yeah.
And I hope that they don't make her keep him much longer because, like, she deserves to have a season where she's fully comfortable and, like, can truly say, like, I have the best men fighting for me. Yeah. And you can't say that if Spencer's there.
Yeah. I think on that note, we should end this episode by forcing Sammy to keep Spencer in his lineup.
I think he did put him
in the spirit of Bachelor production.
I should go back and be like, no, Sammy, I think Spencer will do really well. You
should be like, I saw a spoiler of them kissing. That'll get you points, buddy.
Yep. Anything else?
They're filming season 11 of Vanderpump Rules.
Yes. Woo, 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 so excited.
Yeah, it looks like they just filmed the Pump, like, closing party this weekend.
I did see I did see a clip of them at one of the restaurants where Schwartz and Ariana are having a conversation.
I saw,
and people are trying to like scrub the audio and figure out what they're saying to each other. But it's like, it's a video that Katie posted, and so like Katie is the center of it, and they're like in the shadows behind her, so you can't really hear or tell what they're saying. But I am wondering if that means that Schwartz, because we've talked about like that it seems like they're gonna have to be kind of like two sides of the show, like people who are willing to film with Sandoval and possibly Raquel, and people who are not. And it begs the question, like, is Schwartz now on the side of people who refuse to film with them?
I feel like, knowing Schwartz, though, he's gonna try to just like live in the middle. He's gonna try to be both. Yeah.
Unless what he says is true about him being done with Sandoval.
Yeah, I just don't believe. Like, I think he's a weasel.
Sandoval doesn't believe it either.
Yeah, like, I hate Tom Schwartz. Also, in undeserving but good for the audience news, Tom Sandoval is going to be on Special Forces World's Toughest Test, which, again, obviously doesn't deserve this, but I think it is going to be hilarious to watch this middle-aged, coked-out, skinny man try to do these physical challenges and be berated by the special agent guys, because
he will be hospitalized on that show.
Men, like, they're like basketball players, like people, they do not do well with those men yelling at them, especially men like Tom Sandoval. He is. I'm so excited to watch that part.
Yeah. It'll be fun.
Yeah. I'm going to have to... I guess I don't have to ask Mary permission, because I'll write the notes for next week's pop culture episode, but I'm so ready to break down the From the Vault songs.
It'll be good.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you Friday with some crimes.
Bye.
Bye.